Welcome back to a new season of 90 Day Fiancé, The Single Life. Love in Paradise. Happily Ever After? The Other Way. Strikes Back? That's right, The Other Way, where instead of foreign fiancés trying to make it work in America, Americans make the ultimate sacrifice and move across the globe for the person they love. Or if you're this lady, so you can eat mangoes and lay on the beach for the rest of your life. Normally it takes me a couple episodes to be emotionally invested enough in the couples to be that interested. But damn, TLC just knows how to rope you in, don't they? You wouldn't think there'd be much drama in the first episode of a new season, but...
You mean you've been lying to your partner about your entire future together? How about you manifest some empathy while you're at it?
Danielle is a 40-year-old woman from New York, and just like everyone I know who's ever lived there, hates it.
New York is a toxic boyfriend. You can't get away from him. You love him so much, but you know that he's making your life worse. I'm also frustrated by this traffic. I'm frustrated by how dirty it is. I'm frustrated by how expensive it is.
I know, right? Even doing someone a favor there costs money. But I feel that. It really only makes sense to live there if you have like a really high-paying job, so she must be some lawyer or banker or something like that.
I'm a high school history teacher, and I also have a side hustle running a yoga and wellness business.
Oh, she's a history teacher and a yoga teacher.
Press into your hands so that all parts of your fingers are pressing into the mat equally.
Wait, what is she wearing? I don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure it's offensive. There's no way she actually wears that all the time, right? I mean, the producers must be making her wear that, right?
I decided to take a trip to the Dominican Republic, and that's where I met Johan. When I saw him, the first thing I said, I'm going to marry this man. He's 10 years younger than me. He lives in another country. He speaks another language, and we literally can't see eye to eye because there's like a 2-foot height difference. We spent a couple of days together in the Dominican Republic before I had to go back home. 6 weeks later, I decided to go back and see him. That first morning back, he proposed. 5 months later, I returned to the Dominican Republic to marry Johan.
All right, glad we got that backstory because I definitely did not watch Love in Paradise. Okay, so it sounds like she's gonna move to the Dominican Republic for a year while Johan's K1 visa gets approved, and then they'll move back to the US together. That seems like a good compromise, you know, because Johan really wants to move to America, and Danielle kind of doesn't want to ever come back. But, you know, I doubt that'll be a problem. I mean, that shouldn't cause any issues, you know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's the last we'll ever hear of it, yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that was my last class. I didn't want to say it in the whole group because I didn't want people to freak out.
Oh, is that related to all the camera guys and stuff that was filming class today in that silly hat you were wearing? It's just that, you know, normally I go to yoga class to, you know, relax, and thought it was kind of weird with all the cameras, you know, yeah. No, just a coincidence?
Let me get this straight. You met a man while on vacation, you spent a couple of days with him, got engaged, are now married, and you're leaving everything to go be with him.
That is accurate. That's an accurate statement. As you repeat it back to me, it sounds really crazy. I'm going down to DR in a week. I'm gonna use this trip to set up all the logistics, and I'm moving there, like permanently.
4 years, she means, you know, while they're waiting for the visa to get approved, you know, so then they can move to the United States afterwards, you know, like she told her partner. I'm sure she just misspoke. Come to think of it, Danielle, how do you plan on spending your actual time there? You know, making ends meet, living your life, that sort of thing. I mean, it's a great fantasy and all, but, you know, how's it gonna actually work, you know, in reality?
I like to be at the beach. You know me.
Financially, you're gonna be doing...
I'll eat mangoes.
You can't tell me that the beach is gonna be that fulfilling every single day.
I mean, when I'm there, I have a great time.
Because you're on vacation.
But you're on vacation.
It's not living there.
Reality, Danielle. I said reality. How's it gonna work in reality?
That's not a plan. That's a travel poster. So how long can you have a margarita on a beach? Like maybe you can do that once every 6 months for like 10 minutes, something like that. It's not a vision. It's like this 16-year-old fantasy of paradise. It's like, well, and it just doesn't work out.
You know, maybe she has some reasonable ideas of how to make it work and just doesn't want to get into it all with her friends right now. I'm sure she'll clear all this up and clarify her actual plans in a one-on-one later.
All of the concerns that my friends are raising are in the what if category, and I don't really worry about the what ifs. I just want to enjoy my life with the love of my life in a slower pace near the ocean.
Oh, Danielle. Okay, well, at least she'll only be there for a year, and she'll have her partner Johan to help keep her grounded.
I haven't applied for the visa yet.
Does he know that?
Yes, I think so. Like he hasn't.
Does he know that?
Yes, he knows that. I think he knows that.
No, I think so is not yes.
I haven't said to him, by the way, I haven't applied for the visa yet, but I also haven't said to him, oh, I just applied for the visa. My plan is just to keep it moving unless he fights. I mean, if I don't apply for a visa, he can't go anywhere. So, like, I could just hold on to his marriage certificate and never apply for a visa.
So hang on, let me get this straight. So she agreed she'd apply for the visa and move back to the US. But at some point, she just changed her mind and just decided that they're not doing that anymore. And she just didn't tell her husband about these plans that affect the trajectory of his entire life.
I had a pension consultation, and they told me that if I stayed one more year, it's like the difference between like $15,000 a year more.
So why is that not on the table?
Because like an extra $15,000 a year when I'm 63 isn't gonna be that meaningful to me. And that's the only place he can be with me right now is there.
And if she stays one more year at her job, she'd get an extra $15,000 a year for the rest of her entire retirement. And she's just ignoring that because she suddenly doesn't care about money, even though the biggest complaint she has about staying in New York is she doesn't have enough money. Girl, if you're looking to manifest your money, this is it. What are you talking about?
Johan thinks that we're gonna move to the United States and live there permanently, that we're just waiting for his visa. It's not an accurate belief because I have no plan on ever coming back to New York.
Why not just apply for the visa anyway? Why does your plan of never having to go back to New York City have to be related to applying to the visa? If you don't like New York, you know you can go literally anywhere else in the country, right? You like the beach? Go to Florida. I don't know. If her number one goal is to just not live in New York City, I don't know why she's withholding the visa. But I do have a theory that I'll share later, so stick around.
I have to somehow explain to Johan that we're never going to New York. We have a lot to do.
Johan and I have some figuring out to do. Mostly that I'm lying about our entire future. Okay, I'll move on.
We have a lot to do.
¿Cómo?
I'm just struck by the level of disrespect she seems to have towards him. It's like she's saying, oh, whoopsie daisy, guess we have to figure that out. Oh, what a bother. The impression she gives off to me is like, she really only seems to comprehend that he has feelings too, to the extent that they interfere with her feelings. Now, I'm not accusing her of this, but it does just seem like she doesn't really comprehend that he's a complete human being and is only thinking about herself. I hope she tells him soon, at least.
Me gusta aquí mejor que mi país. Quiero ir a la playa. La agua es mucho hermoso.
Just tell him already. I guess this bothers me so much because I do this sometimes too. Instead of just saying something directly because that's too scary, you make all these indirect comments to try to passively move them over to your side over time. It's like if you like someone and instead of just asking them out like a normal person, you do the whole, don't we just look so cute together in that photo? We're just so alike. We make such a good match. Don't you think? We look like such a couple here, don't we? Yeah, a couple of besties. Just be direct, goddammit.
Es mucho caro. Trabajo mucho, todos los días, cada día, y no tengo nada.
Aquí, mi país, tú trabajas años y años y no tienes nada. Aquí, el sueldo que uno gana es como para vivir el día a día.
It is kind of interesting watching them talk about it. She says that all people do in New York is work all day and nobody can afford anything. And yeah, sure, but that's relative. Because then Johan says that all people in the Dominican Republic do is work all day and nobody can afford anything. So it seems like they have similar complaints about where they both live, but who do we think has it worse?
Mi amor, no quiero ir a mi país.
¿Cuándo?
Nunca.
Damn, that's how she told him? It's so great here. I just never want to go back. Yeah, I know, right?
Never.
Never?
Never. Nunca.
Nunca.
Tú dijiste una cosa, eso es lo que vamos a hacer.
A veces yo cambio mi mente primero.
No, así no.
Wow, kudos to him for handling that so well. I'd be so mad, but he handled that great. Very level-headed, didn't raise his voice, brought up the lying thing pretty well. That was a pretty poised way of saying that.
No puedo cambiar mi mente?
Oh, let me turn it around on you. Are you saying I can't change my mind? How disrespectful of you.
Tú sabes lo que yo quiero, lo que yo te di.
No, that's not what I was saying. I was just pointing out that you said one thing and now you're dropping this on me.
Mi amor, tú no eres estúpido. No. Escúchame. Mi casa, $4,000 por mes. Yo pagar $4,000 sola por mi cuarto. No es posible. Tú no entiendes. No es posible.
Hey, are you stupid, bro? You can do math, can't you? My life greater than your life. Comprende?
So tu sueño no es verdad. Sueño americano no es real.
You know your dream about moving to a better place and living a better life? That's not real. The reality of a new country is always worse than you had imagined it in your head. You're stuck in such a fantasy world. Grow up.
Whether or not Johan understands, this is where we're living. Because he can't go to the United States without me, and if I don't want to go, I don't want to go.
Ugh. That smile, that's an oof. That smile, oof. A fight is one thing, but to go in the one-on-one interview later and be like, I don't give a fuck what he thinks. I have all the power and he doesn't. So I'm gonna live my fantasy better life instead of him living an actual better life. On the outside, if we just take her actions on screen at face value and how she's presenting herself, it would be easy to conclude that she's just a totally selfish person who doesn't care about her partner's feelings at all and barely sees him as a complete human being. But as infuriating as her behavior may be, I doubt that she's that cold and uncaring. If you and your partner are going out for dinner and they really want Italian food, but you really want Mexican, I'd hope that you could just talk about what either of you wants and compromise and find something that makes you both happy. It would be pretty weird and frankly abusive if instead of talking about it and compromising, you thought, I'm the only one who can pay, so we're either getting Mexican or he can go hungry. Well there, why not just talk about it? Do you not believe that that's an option? Could you not say, New York is terrible? It's too expensive, it just doesn't make sense for us. But instead of moving there, maybe we can look at other places in the US that are cheaper to live and maybe by the coast, like Florida. But that requires an implicit belief that compromise is even an option, that you and your partner are a unit that can work together and solve problems together, and that they won't betray you. It requires trust in your partner and in the relationship as a whole. I suspect that that's the missing element. I mean, she's openly stating that she's using the visa thing as a power tactic to ensure that she can get her way. But why is that necessary? It could be that she has no belief or learned experience in her life that compromise with a loved one actually works, which would be pretty sad to hear. I would imagine that the journeys of life that would lead to such a conclusion are probably not ones filled with love and happiness. When you see someone so attached to such an unrealistic fantasy and they're not a child, it makes you wonder, do you really believe all this? She didn't lie to him directly. She lied by omission, never brought it up, don't have to address reality, just shove it under the rug. Her friends ask her for details and she blows them off and don't worry about it. More fleeing from reality? When she jokes to the camera about owning up to her lies, she presents like a giddy child. Maybe she just doesn't care, but maybe that's a coping tactic. Dissociating from the fear of the reality she's in, which I think we've actually seen before on the show, ironically with another Danielle and Muhammad, if you remember them.
Danielle, are you okay with that being 60% of the equation?
Okay, so remember that I had the hypothesis that she would regress under stress.
Doesn't it seem similar? This is fine. Everything is fine. She tells the truth to Johan, but when he brings up the lying part, she clamps down to control and push him down. And in the interviews, she basically brags about how she can use her power over him to get whatever she wants. Controlling, power dynamics, clamping down, only thinking about themselves, turning the blame onto other people when confronted with their own misdeeds. Who does this remind me of? But just like certain other cast members, I suspect those actions are coming from a place of deep fear and insecurity, or the editing room. And what we see on screen are just the unhealthy coping skills that flare up in response to those insecurities. Still don't like her. Her dismissive attitude is just like, unless she shows a drastic change of pace about all this, I don't see this working out very well. That said, if my theory is right and these actions are coming from a place of insecurity, then perhaps being in person instead of long distance and having some good partnership could bring her head back down to earth and she can see the error of her ways. It's very tempting to conclude that she's just a shit person and I'm going to hate her for the rest of the season, but I just can't help thinking that this isn't a really accurate representation of her as a whole person. Is she this immature and childish and deluded and rude and dismissive like she seems on screen? Or is the fear of being long distance or of Johan getting mad and breaking up with her when he finds out, or is something like that causing her to act so much worse than she otherwise would? Maybe she just sucks. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe she sucks. But when some part of me questions exactly how much of a bad guy it is, then I feel bad for hating on him. After all, the reason why I try to give both sides in these videos and speculate as to what could be causing the pretty aggravating behaviors that we see on screen sometimes is because I think a lot of people can get stuck on fighting about the manifestations of insecurities over and over and over again when they could have spent their energy more directly addressing the insecurity itself and preventing future fights. That's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about Danielle, if you thought that I was going too hard on her or defending her too much. And while you're at it, I want to know who you think will be the most toxic couple and the most wholesome couple of the season. I'm getting a pretty good vibe from Kris and Jeymi so far, but I'd love to hear your opinion. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video and want to see other healthy living and relationship content, then you know what to do. Hit subscribe, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, and every comment helps the algorithm. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.